Okay, well, it's very interesting that you're saying what you're saying tonight, because when that poster, you changed the poster. I mean, this vehicle just kind of did a little kind of flip-flop upside down thing.
I knew it did.
But I must say, I don't know how to say this, so it doesn't sound horrible, but I'm playing a lot of torture tape or fear tape, and I just wanted to put that out because I don't want to get in the way.
You're playing torture tape?
I mean, there's an influencer saying, you know, you're going to be really in for it, you're going to get really hurt. And I am.
Hurt in what way?
Physically, probably.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't think so either, but I'm just putting it out because I don't know what it's about exactly.
Let's address it since you're dealing with those things. Well, I have to be honest with you. From where I sit, I fear anything of stagnation, of lack of forward motion, so much more than I fear the possible difficulties I might run into with this MO, including physical. I mean, we don't live in a world that, what you want to get at, we don't live in a world that's tortured. You know, I don't think we're going to go into countries that we're going to permit, you know, people to put nails under our fingernails and things of that sort are tortured. We might get rocks thrown at us. We might get accused of things falsely and thrown in jail. We might get, somebody might put a bullet through us. And, now these are worse scenarios. But as far as I'm concerned, they are so irrelevant to me. They really are irrelevant to me. Because the thing I hate and the thing I fear is not being myself and taking a stand for myself. And by taking that stand, then I did have to come to the point, no, you know, I give it credit for this, I had to come to the point where I hated putting this off more than I hate whatever thought of it might have. You follow what I'm saying? So, I'm at the point now where I almost look forward to the thought, because then I know it's going to be getting closer to the end. I know that it will be bringing things to a focus. And I can even remember one meeting where you sat in where you said, I feel that we're going to get, where things are really going to come to a head, you know, they're going to come to a climax. And this is helping bring them to a head and to a climax. I think we should not listen to fears. I think that if physical difficulty comes to us, that it'll be easy to bear. I know the next level will not make it difficult for us to bear. Even if it's difficult, it will be easy because we'll bear it with such feeling and such pride. I mean, a labor of having a baby in the human world is torture. You know, and yet women look forward to the day that they can be tortured in that way. I mean, saying that, you know, I wouldn't let that stop me. I wouldn't let that get in my way. And some women can die because of the breech child or the complications that can set in during that kind of experience. So anything that could happen to us is in reality no greater than what could happen to you any moment of any day in some truck falling on your car out there, or some gang coming around the corner and mauling you because you got 50 cents in your pocket and they want it. So just don't listen to those things. And also get yourself mentally prepared that if they do, you want to show the next level where your honor is, where your loyalty is, and take your stand. It's not that we're like, you know, going to be dumb and over anxious, not trying to create a hostile circumstance. We're not like, the abortion rights, the pro-abortionists more than anybody now, they go out to create hostile circumstances. They're not happy if they don't get thrown in jail. It's gotten to that, where they're not happy if they don't get thrown in jail. And now they do whatever it's going to take to get thrown in jail because they somehow think that they are making a stronger statement if they get their name continually put in the newspaper for being thrown in jail. It's like the group of people that are even falling behind this guy that killed this doctor, as if they were taking a right stand. Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to take a stand, take it for something worthwhile. And that's just stupid. So, abortion rights, and the other thing is gay lesbian rights. These are the two things that the Christian coalition sees as the elements to give them the right to be militant. As far as the next level is concerned, what you did prior to entering the classroom is irrelevant. I mean, what color your skin was, or what your religion was, or who you slept with, or how you slept with them, or whether you had 16 abortions, or, it couldn't matter. And whether you were a criminal, it simply doesn't matter. As far as the next level is concerned, it's who are you now? And who are you going to be when we leave, because we want to try to help you not to have to return and finish lessons that aren't finished this time. Now, a couple of little lessons. Every one of this group should have thought, every single one of you, I have commissioned you in the past to take responsibility to think about the things that Lynx is thinking about. You follow what I'm saying? Now, if you had figured it out, or even if you hadn't figured it out, you should have asked overseers or senior overseers, when does Lynx usually talk to the groups at night? What time is it that Lynx usually talks to groups at night? Maybe?
You're about 7 or something?
Right. Until
9.
Until we're through. That's right. Usually starts at 7 o'clock and goes until we're through. And now, to me, you knew that our meeting was going to knock a chunk out of that for other groups. And so, when you heard that Lynx wanted to meet with you again, then to me, as soon as you gotten up from your nap, your attitude should have been, and it might have been, I'm just going over this for sake of understanding and review, but your attitude should have been, as soon as Lynx is ready to come over here, tell Lynx to get over here, and we will squeeze in whatever consuming or things we need to do prior to that, because we don't want to interfere with the work that has to be done with the rest of the class. Or we don't want Lynx waiting for us because we've got to do this or we've got to do that. This is next level way of thinking. And so all of you don't want to wait for overseers to tell you this. You want to, if anything, ask them, is this, am I right? Could we be doing this so that it would not slow down our forward motion? You don't want them dragging you. You want, or telling you maybe you need to do this more quickly. If anything, the other way around. You follow what I'm saying? And I know the last couple of days have dealt with some other good adjustments that we've talked about from the past, and that is the change of sleep patterns and consuming patterns, because here you went from 6 a.m. to 2:30 or whenever it was that you got something to consume. But that should mean absolutely zero to you. I mean zero to you. When your little tummy is hungry, it should not matter to you. Now, if your hunger has extended a day or two, and your knees are wobbly, and you can't think, and you're, being threatened with passing out or something, then that's a different story. Now, I know that Melodi's had it. She's had to learn a difficult adjustment with this, with sleep more than with consuming. And I'm using her as an example because she has finally learned that her vehicle does not require what she thought it required. The vehicle will continue to require what it has conned you into believing it requires until you satisfactorily reprogram it. And you can override it. Now, in the process of overriding it, there might be a little period of adjustment where you and the vehicle are having to do a few rounds, and you might end up weak a little bit in the department of rest or consuming. But you want to be flexible, back to astronaut training program. If they say that this is the time the craft needs to touch down, you can't say, well, I need my consuming first, would you put that off? Let's wait a half hour or wait an hour so that I can get my consuming out of it. And this doesn't apply just to consuming rest. This applies to everything, whether it's holding your bladder or whatever it might be. You want to know that you're flexible. And it takes time to make these adjustments for some of it. But they can be made. They can be made. And they can be a fun challenge in the process. And you'll be so happy when you're on the other side saying, I can't believe I used to think that I needed this. Now, even the vocabulary I'm using is inappropriate because it is not I who needs any of that. That soul doesn't need any of that. And the vehicle needs it because you still buy what the vehicle tells you it needs. And the faster we get to where we don't use the I word when we're talking about vehicular needs. You don't need to consume. The vehicle needs consuming. And you can watch after that vehicle's need for consuming or rest or whatever it is, but you also need to teach the vehicle to be flexible. Now, first of all, in our earlier meeting today, I felt some question. I felt a little heaviness. I was trying to weigh it, what's the basis? Is it because you didn't get much rest, or because it's been so long since you consumed, or is it this new posture, or is it 1, 2, and 3, not enough rest and not enough consuming and this new posture? I hope you're not so low as to think that dough gets some pleasure out of this new posture. I, more than anybody, am the one that is going to appear to the humans as Mr. Capital Fool. Those who don't have any chip or any even exploring of, if somebody was quick to tell you that you were not who you were, or your teacher is not who that poster said you is, I'm afraid I would have to say, how do you know? What makes you think you know? Do you know him? Do you know me? Do you even know what I'm about? You're making a whole passel of assumptions that are false to even think that you have a right to judge me when you know absolutely nothing about me or my teachers. You know nothing about what they have gone through. You know nothing about what they know. You know nothing about where their control is. You know nothing about where their knowledge is. If they are not who they said they are, then what do you think that the return of somebody who was the Son of God, by human terms, getting that in its right place, how do you think, what would they know? How are they going to come? What are they going to say? Are they going to have to come and awaken in a Catholic garment, like that fellow told us at the monastery? They're going to have to come floating down on a cloud with, the heavens shaking and great lightning and thunder as this floats down. Can you not see that an incident like that blows the whole process of growth? I mean, you grow closer to the next level and in the knowledge of the next level with no proof. Now, even if the next level, there is proof, but not that kind of show, no theatrics. The irony is theatrics are no proof. There is no proof in theatrics. If someone came down and showed you his bleeding wounds and his flowing garments as he came down on the clouds, you would just be stunned and thrilled and thrilled and thrilled to death beyond all measure until he told you what you had to do in order to be his student and into the kingdom of heaven. And you'd very quickly say, that must have been the Antichrist who came in that big fancy show. Because Jesus said he wouldn't come. This would be the very answer that the person would give, saying that, the only proof is Jonah. It wouldn't hurt for you all to do a little prepping mentally on how you're going to deal with these doubters. Now, and why not have a little fun and sharpen your wits a little bit with some of these scriptures and some of these things that, only to a certain degree. If it's clear to them that no matter what you say, you're not even going to get them to examine this possibility, then just turn and say, it's clear that you don't know me, you don't know me. And in your present frame of mind, I doubt that you ever will. Now whether or not what you're looking for is going to come someday, that's to be seen. T and I used to even wonder if the next level would not permit what the world says that they're looking for to actually happen. So that someone does come down in flowing robes and bleeding hands and says, now I'm going to get together all the kings of all the nations and all the presidents, and listen, the kings and the presidents would all get together and figure out how to do away with this guy from space who's pulling a number on it. But not one of them wants to give up their glory and their authority to someone from outer space who is saying that he's come to save the world. They don't even want that kind of Savior. First of all, Jesus never said he was going to save the world. He said he can save you from the world. He can take you out of the world. And he can save each individual who would come with him and be taken out of the world. The only way you're taken out of the world is to leave a world that you hate, and that you hate all of its aspects. You cannot be taken from a world that you love. The next level is not going to take you away from a world that you love. Only a world that you have grown to hate all of its aspects. All of the things that demonstrate this world and its kind of attachments and ties and all that stuff. You all get up there and telling us every time you have a meeting. I'm just trying to see if I can assist you in this new MO. I knew when this poster came out that some of the students themselves might be put to the test. Probably as much as some that you would go out and talk to. And yet I knew that it had to be done, and it was the time to do it. Now, don't be so stupid. I don't want to use that word. Don't be so ignorant to our naive, whatever it is, I know it's not intentional, but don't think that well, let me put it this way. Remember that our position is that, and I hope you can follow this, remember that the next level's position is that those actual having any consciousness, well, I'll just shoot real straight with you on this, as straight as I know how to shoot. I can't tell you who did what in Bethlehem or Nazareth, or what this person looked like that was a student or a follower, or what Mary Magdalene looked like, or what kind of numbers she pulled on me or anybody else. I mean, that memory is as gone as the memory of this world is gone. The memory even that this vehicle had is like tuning into another vehicle even that is not mine. Because where my head is, my vehicle is that one sitting on the spacecraft waiting for me to get back in it. This is one that I have wiped out its memory, that if I choose to go dig it up, then it's almost like digging in the garbage to dig it up, to see if there's something that needs to be pulled out of the memory. Now, I do know that when it comes to New Testament lessons or things that Jesus said, that there's something in this mind that when the theologians say it meant this or it meant that when he said this or when he said that, but I said, no, it didn't. It meant this, or it meant this, or it meant that. And I don't know how I know, but I know. And I know that my older members knew what it meant. And my older member knew a lot of the things in the Old Testament just without even opening the Old Testament or studying it, and knew what the real meaning of the Old Testament is. Not names and places and dates and events, but what the real meaning was. Now, even that is irrelevant, because what I know about 2,000 years ago is totally irrelevant, even at this time. That is as past history to us as the past of your vehicle or this vehicle that I'm wearing. It is past history. And the only reason the next level is forcing us to bring this up, which we don't want to bring up, is because Lucy has made a plan to have the whole world waiting for the return of the next level, but convinced that anything they see will not be it. And so the next level is saying, this is our return. This is the formula return. This is a repeat. It doesn't matter whether the soul is the identical soul that was in that vehicle, but the mind is identical. What is in the mind is the same stuff that's in the mind. And the next level they couldn't care less if the soul was identical. So my instruction is for us to be the return of that mind. We can't avoid it. I mean, our whole reason for existence is how to overcome the world. What you have to do to get out of the world, hate the world, sufficient to get out of it and change your thinking, and so that family of the world is no longer your family. Nothing they respected is something you respect. That your new family is the next level, and that the only thing you respect is the next level. In the process, most of what we learn is what isn't true. We learn very little about what is true. We learn a lot about what isn't true. 1,000 times more than what any human learns about what isn't true. And that's wisdom, if there ever was any wisdom. Okay. So you're not trying to sell them on, if you could hear dough, you would recognize what is in the Scripture. Because the Scripture that they would recognize from dough, they have ignored for all the years they've had the Scripture. I mean, the core Scripture is identical. But the core Scripture, the church doesn't know what to do with. So they think he must not have meant that. He must not have meant it. Or it's taken out of context, or it may have been appropriate then, but it isn't now because he died on the cross, he shed his blood. Everything's been changed. He was sacrificed. So you can get there and not. Everybody, listen, this world is full of religions that actually believe that every spirit that enters the human is going to enter the kingdom of heaven by the grace of kind God. No matter whether they acknowledge the next level or overcome a blooming thing. And I hate to tell you that is not true. Now, part of the way we get out of here is by moving into a phase of expressing ourselves in a way that, it's not, don't misunderstand this. We haven't chosen this MO in order to create separation from us and the world, and to create, maybe that, but not in order to create hostility from Christians. If we had our way, the Christians would believe what we have to offer them, because we would like for them to be recipients as well. Is that not the truth? If we had our way, we would like for them to believe what we had to say. But the fact is that those who do not believe and turn against us will simply finish off the overcoming that we have been slow to do. It will move you up notches that you were dragging your feet in before. Things that you, listen, when Shinomi was talking about, heat like torture and that kind of stuff, even when the world is writing articles against you and condemning you, there's going to be a whole long list of little things you used to turn in on your CSR that are going to just dissipate. I mean, they're just gone. Because you have other concerns that you don't even have time to be troubled with those influences. You follow what I'm saying? Because you're going to be concerned about other things. This MO will accelerate the completion of our task. And as far as I'm concerned, where I sit, it didn't come any too soon. I mean, to me, it's tardy. I'm so glad it is finally here. And I hope that you can join me in that. I hope you can rise to the occasion and join me in it. And have fun with me in it. Look, the world is full of people that all they have on their side is a tiny little family of people that really don't have much to offer anyhow. I mean, you've got a great big family that is tremendously supportive of you and will help you through anything to see that you have what you need and will help you be strong when you're weak. You cannot find what we have anywhere on the face of this globe. Now, you may think, those out trying to sell us something.
I'll buy.
I'm really glad for this day. I really am glad for this day. I know it's tough in some way, but I'm glad for this day. The alternative is tougher. It certainly is from where I sit. The alternative of not doing this is tougher.
I don't know if it's even relevant. Is this a good time to ask a question?
Yes.
One of the little things that keeps going through my head in the scriptures, well, there's two of them. And one is that Jesus is going to return as a thief in the night. And this, to me, translates more as a thief in the night than anything that I can even imagine. And
In
then...
lots of ways.
Yes.
Even got accused of it.
Well, just our presence here. In
No,
this
that's
facility.
No, but I was saying even the stolen car. You know,
Oh,
even in the most, every way that you can possibly look at it, it was the thief in the night. But that's what you all in every town you go to.
Sure.
You go in and out like a thief in the night. You go in and pick a little flour and you take a little soul or two out, and they don't even know that you were there.
Right.
They just, they don't know what you came for, but they liked you. They liked your vibration. Go ahead.
And then the other one was, and I keep pondering these little things like the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And I'm just wondering if that meant that the ones who were 2,000 years ago, who were first to come with Jesus 2,000 years ago, were the last ones that are coming now.
Some of that is true. Some of that is true. Some of the ones who were the first, and I say some because it's only true in the case of some of the ones who were the first to be with T&O were the ones who needed more training before the others joined them. And some were to assist with that training during that time. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely true. And of course that tests some of the students into jealousy and all kinds of other things. They just came in. They're already ahead of me, you know. They can lick this and lick this. I've been working on that for how many years? You know?
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate, but regarding this connection between now and 2,000 years ago, I didn't know if it would be appropriate to say that when you first, like 1975, 76, when we were first starting in the class, that's really not anything that T&O just did not want to talk about. That if there was a connection, they didn't care about it.
Actually, T and I went around the camp and made the people in the camp stop talking about it. Because T and I never said anything about it. We never brought it up. And when they started talking about it, we tried to stop it. Because there were members in the camp going around saying, well, I think that was Thomas and that was Mary and this and that. And when T and I would listen to this, we'd say, come on, you guys. I mean, let's stop this. This is ridiculous. And what kind of spiritual, psychic trip are you trying to get on here? So, and we stopped that. We even took Bibles away from people because all they wanted to do was sit and study the Bible and quote the Bible and quote the Bible. And they were interpreting it in a very old English way. You know what I say when I mean what I mean when I say old English? I'm saying a very tainted, spiritual way, as against plain truth. It was a very, I don't know how I should put it.
Well, I mean, I think that most, if not all of us, it just makes sense that, the one who was there 2,000 years here, that it was just nothing that you all ever wanted to talk about, and it really wasn't even until 10 or 15 years later that...
I'm sorry, I took this moment off. I think it was that one.
Did that one go off?
Oh,
Was it the battery or the... Okay. I'm sorry, Ken.
Well, it just was so long, like, I can remember 10 or 15 years or something before you ever even said, well, it could have been.
That's right. We did not want to discuss it. And it wasn't one of those things where we insinuated that it was true, but we didn't want to discuss it. It wasn't that at all. We did not want to discuss it. I mean, it was like, if anything, we wanted to deny it. We want to say this is a trap for you. That's what we would say. This kind of thinking is a trap for you. And now, we never denied the parallel between the core teachings of Jesus and this trip. We knew that they were exactly the same. And for some of you to recognize that, and that was even put in the original statement, that the teachings were exactly the same as far as overcoming the world and breaking the ties and, this is my family, those are not my family. You can't even be my student if you don't. I've heard, how many times I heard preachers say, well, he certainly must have meant love them less. It couldn't have meant hate. And yet, how many times have I seen students hate the fact that their vehicle's mom or dad was looking at them the way they were looking at them and grieving so over their decision of what they were doing. And they also hated the fact that was happening was interfering with them, because they couldn't get rid of the thought. Whether it was an offspring or it was a spouse or it was a mother or a father. And they hated it as an interference because they couldn't get it off their mind. Well, how else are you going to come in and take over a vehicle? That's what we did. I mean, we're the body snatchers from Word 1. Now, I don't know that I'd say that to people who want to find this favor with us, but that we took over bodies. But we did no harm by doing it. I mean, these bodies we took over were products of the next level anyhow. I mean, if the next level doesn't have a right to sign their crew to go take over bodies, who does? There are spirits out there trying to take over other bodies all the time. There are even others who are out there who have even worse, less right to take over vehicles that practice it all the time. These New Agers, they will read this Lapsang Rampa who, took over somebody's body, and they do it with such admiration, and yet let us talk about it, and it's the boogeyman, It's the bad guy that's coming and taking.
But it really was
Sure.
more about Shinomi, what Shinomi brought up.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if there are others in the class that have had to deal with that.
With what?
Question of
Fears?
cases of torture and all. And if I understood right, there were times we felt like it might have been just because of even experiences that the soul experienced
In the past.
but that you felt that you just felt like it's not something we need to worry about. Just hang around,
Well, I'd give anything if I could give you my headspace on that topic.
I'm getting it.
Because I really would. I would give anything if I could give you my headspace on, because you wouldn't fear it. You simply wouldn't fear it. And if even if somebody, if you knew you were ending up and people were picking up weapons and they were firing them, I think I would just wish a little that they would aim straight, because I would like to not have to go through doing it all over again, having it healed and then having somebody else do it. Well, and don't misunderstand that we're hunting this kind of thing. We are not into that. None of us are into that. But if the next level wants it to happen this way, there's only one justification that I can see that might be the reason the next level might want it to happen to a degree they expect. And that's what the Easterners call karma. Because those souls that would destroy us, even if it is a would, if they had their way and they would destroy us, they will be destroyed by the next level. Those minds and souls, individuals that would destroy us, whether they are Luciferians or they are human vehicles or preachers or whoever they might be, if they would have us be mute, they will be mute. If they would try to put an end to us and like to see us stamped out, they will have their end and be stamped out. That's the judgment of the next level. That's the way it's designed. And therefore we are the pawns in this little game of how the next level judges by how people respond to us. Now that puts a lot of responsibility on us to try to do the best job we can do while we're out there, because the thing we're trying the hardest to do is to have somebody not misjudge us. Not because we have anything to gain, but they have everything to lose. You follow what I'm saying? They have everything to lose. So we would like to bring them, if they'll listen, into a little bit of knowledge of maybe even saying, well, you might be right. Even if they would say and believe, well, you might be right. Then their future has a much better chance for some sort of further participation in one of the gardens at the next level.
I don't know if I have a kink in my head or not in the way that I'm perceiving how we relate to individuals that we come in contact with, like those who offer us help, or even in the process of asking for help from someone, and they're at a point where we're starting to feel like that they've already made up their mind that they don't want to help us, or that we're perceiving that they've made up their mind. Is it right then to offer more information to them at that point?
No, once they've made it clear that they don't want to hear you more, then that's it.
Okay. But it's...
No.
How do we...
If I really felt like, though I might make an attempt to say, for your sake, I wish you wouldn't close your mind so fast. I don't need this place to sleep or this meal from you like you need to be the beneficiary of what I could be used to give you. It's not mine. It's not of me. It was given to me to pass on to you. I mean, it is not mine. I don't have anything that is mine. And I don't have anything that's mine other than what my older member has given to me. And it can be taken from me if I abuse it or misuse it. And I would like them not to be so foolish as to cut themselves off so quickly, to be so quick to judge. And you all run into people every day that are so quick to judge. Just like they don't even need any observation, and it shows you how ignorant they are. It shows you how bad they have become. I mean, it is evil to be quick to judge and not to look a little deeper. Why should you jump to assumptions that just because somebody's asking for help that they're no good con artists, that they really ought to be out there in the shelter, or they really ought to be going out and get a job, instead of that they had that and they can do better at that than you can do at it. And yet they left that in order to tell what they have been given to know. Everybody?
A lot of what it seems like we run into are people who are looking out for themselves. They even say, I have to look out for myself.
Well, then say, I'm looking out for you too. I know what you stand to lose. This is no threat. I'm not saying that to you to try to threaten you in some way. It's that I know what I have. I know what I have. But you're not looking. If I could somehow or other turn that around and you could look, you would praise God night and day that you had the sense of mind to listen to me for a moment. You know what I'm saying? Because they would. But they're just so quick to... this brings up a crazy little topic that we've talked about, how the next level has put chips, and it may even literally be chips, but their technology could make chips so that man doesn't have the technology to discern a chip that has been put in. But also, and I got this feeling so strongly as an afterthought from visiting with the group called The Colony on Highway 299 in Burnt Ranch, there were 8 or 10